Welcome back. Sunday morning. I finally get around to watch the film Threads from 1984, which happens to be a BBC production. And the year before, the day after. Obviously, these films are... The scenario is when a city gets nuked. I don't know what American city was involved in the day after, but that in Sheffield, if a nuclear bomb would have dropped on this city, what would be the consequences to the population, and how people survive in time. Because you got to know, when things like this happens, what is civilization in that moment will be totally destroyed, and society as we know in a time it will just die out. Because every part, how our society works, every piece of cog in the works will be destroyed. There will be a food shortage. They won't be able to grow crops. They won't be able to manufacture things. They won't be able to have electricity generated. And all these things we take for granted today could be just wiped away in a second. And the only thing you're left with, radioactive rubble. They say like Mad Max Apocalypse and stuff like that. And people who survive will fight to survive. They can start a fight amongst each others for food, whatever food is available. And when that finishes, you're going to start eating animals or anything which is hot-blooded, basically. It's a terrifying, idea. The world is so close to such annihilation like this. In this moment in the story of humanity, the world, we are that close. Obviously, governments and the press don't want to talk about it because it only creates panic. And panic is a lot more worse than the actual event itself. Because that means that everything within minutes falls. Absolute collapse of society. Whether it's a nuclear event, whether you've got 5 seconds before a piece of rock hits the earth, or whatever catastrophic event, when panic begins to spread, a lot of people are going to lose their lives. And you can say, after the aftermath of the bomb, it all depends where you are when this thing gets detonated. You've got to know if it's one of those bombs which are detonating in the airburst or on the ground. If it's one of those strategic bombs, vast devastation and high levels of radiation. Because more further up from the explosion zone, your chances to survive increase. Because if you're in intermediate space where explosion occurs, if you do get out on time, you're going to die from radioactive poisoning, which will do your guts in, and so on. And if you don't manage to escape, you'll have some radioactive symptoms, depending on whether it's minor or severe. Death in any way will come. In the post-atomic society, there won't be laws and law enforcement because most of the governments will be destroyed. And nations as we know it will be destroyed. It will be the strongest who survive and prevail over the weak. They'll perish. That's law of nature, which nature is applicated. And we're not the ones excluded from this law of nature in such events.